Frank. Pete DeBoer makes the, call it, controversial decision to pull Jake Oettinger very early in that game. It's the earliest pull in Jake Ottinger's career. And listen, Pete DeBoer has been around a long time. He's been coaching longer than I've been alive, Frank. But these comments after the game about Oettinger, I want to get your take on them. But first, let's take a listen and hear what DeBoer had to say about pulling Jake Oettinger.
We had talked endlessly in this series about trying to play with the lead. And obviously we were in a 2-0 hole right away. And you know what, I didn't take that lightly, and I didn't blame it all on Jake. But, you know, the reality is if you go back to last year's playoffs, you know, he's lost 6 to 7 games to Edmonton, and we gave up 2 shots on 2 goals in an elimination game. So, you know, it was partly to spark our team and wake them up, and partly, you know, knowing that, you know, status quo had not been working, you know, and that's a pretty big sample size.
Frank, what do you make of those comments from DeBoer?
Yeah, I mean, Pete DeBoer lost his mind in Game 5. I don't know any other way to say it. Jake Oettinger being the problem? Like, how about, when we'll talk about this too, the rest of your team didn't show up this series. Your leading scorer in the entire series had 5 points in 5 games. So I'm sorry. Like, I'm not saying at all that Jake Oettinger was great or that he was above average or anything like that. But what I am saying is that this is your franchise goalie that's here for the long term. And by the way, let me say the quiet part out loud. He's going to way outlive you in Dallas. So why do you feel the need to go after him, not just with the early hook, but then to double down or triple down on it in the post-game press conference? That's going to be a spicy exit meeting. And beyond that, I don't know how you as a goalie have trust in your head coach next season and beyond. That was a major card to play. And it also kind of just makes me think of all the great, great coaches that we've had. And Pete DeBoer has certainly been on that list the last 15 years, whatever the number is. Maybe there's a reason why he hasn't won. Maybe that's part of it, is that, you know, you look at quick hooks like that, reactionary moments. Those are times when I think you end up telling a lot about yourself, your beliefs, your structure, and really who you count on when it matters most. And so I'm looking at that saying, I can't believe that that's what happened. And I can't believe that those are the words that then came out of his mouth.
Yeah, I mean, when I first read it, I honestly thought it was like a fake quote. I'm like, there's no way he said that. And it's like, oh my God, you listen to it. And it does. It's not even like one of those things where it like sounds better than it just reads online or on paper. But yeah, that was ugly. A DeBoer-led team has now lost in the Western Conference Finals in 5 of the last 6 seasons in the NHL. And it's one of, call it, many question marks heading into the offseason now for Dallas, Frank. Like, I honestly, when I loaded up their Puckpedia page, and we can talk about what's going to happen in the next few months here. When I loaded up their Puckpedia page, my jaw was on the floor. They only have $4.9 million in cap space, and that's only with 8 forwards on the roster. Granted, both defensemen, all six defensemen, both goalies signed, sure. But like, this is a grim board we have up, Frank. That's not a lot of money, not a lot of picks, and a handful of key guys on the free agents list.
Yeah, and guess what? Their prospect pipeline, because they've been trading away so many picks, is now quickly becoming a lot more bare. What you're seeing essentially is what you're getting. You know, Wyatt Johnson obviously has well graduated. Leon Bichelle has well graduated into the NHL at this point in time. Maverick Bourque was there. You know, they traded away Logan Stankoven, and they don't have their top picks. This is a team that has a young core that's probably not going anywhere when you consider Hintz and now Rantanen added to that list. A lot of these guys are south of 30 and in the right position to compete. And yet you're still going to have that at some point in time, that Sagan contract fall off the books, and you'll find more cap space also as the cap increases. But the Dallas Stars, what you see is what you get. I think that's the best way to explain it. And I think that point that we talked about in yesterday's show, you could drive that home, which is look at the disparity between these two teams, Carolina and Dallas, that made this, seismic trade at the trade deadline. Is they both ended up in the same spot, which is a loss in the conference final. And yet the Carolina Hurricanes appear to be trending up and the Dallas Stars appear to be trending like this, which is straight across. And that's not necessarily a bad thing because it's a high threshold, but they've got a lot of work to do to A, figure out the right side of that blue line, to B, figure out the depth of their forward group moving forward with Ben and then Matt Duchene needing a raise. And then beyond that, do we have a coach and or goalie question now moving forward? Because Jake Oettinger has been the rock of that team. And then, man, the numbers against Edmonton aren't pretty. Is it just one team? Is it the moment? Is it the coach? Is it the team in front of him? There's a lot to unpack here with Dallas. And I think what you're left with is another really good team, another really good core that has been to 3 conference finals and 1 Stanley Cup final together and haven't gotten the job done.
Yeah. I was looking because, how do you free up cap space? Can you buy someone out? Tyler Seguin is buyout proof. If they buy him out, they only save about $700,000. So you're not signing up for $9 million in dead cap space to get Seguin off your books. And again, he's been largely fine. Labushkin and Dumba make a combined $7 million next season. They played a combined 1 game in this conference final. So they could save, I think, like $3.5-4 million by buying out those two. Again, unless you're but they don't have assets to attach, so it's probably just a non-conversation there. But Jim Nill, the point I'm making here, Frank, he has some tough decisions to make here in the next couple of months.
What's up, hockey fans? If you enjoyed that video, then you need to be hitting the subscribe button right here at Daily Faceoff. Exclusive interviews and analysis from our hockey insider Frank Seravalli, fantasy updates from Brock Sagan, and a daily live show at noon Eastern, Monday through Friday. You don't want to miss any of the fantastic content, so hit that subscribe button.